It is not my intention to make any political statement nor any religious statement by this video. I am simply bringing to you a story. It is my wish that the story lands upon you in whatever capacity it is meant to, and that you take from the story what it is that you are meant to take with you, to hold and carry forward. The story of Lilith. And so it was that God had made the earth, and he looked upon it and decided that he would create man, and he would do so by creating them in his own image. And he fashioned both man and woman, each independently of each other, forming them out of clay and breathing life into them. Well, there was trouble in paradise, for Adam and Lilith could find no common ground. So independent of each other were they that they argued about absolutely everything. They could agree upon nothing. And this argument came to a deep and tragic culmination when, during a time of intimacy, Lilith wished to be in a dominant position, and Adam refused. She became so enraged, filling inside of herself with such hate and venom, so poisonous had her own feelings become to herself, that in uttering words of creation, calling upon the Lord's name, she transformed herself into a terrible likeness, with horns growing from her head, wings sprouting from her back, and a long tail with a spiked end growing as she shot up into the sky. And she flew out across the desert, shrieking, wailing in her anger and her rage. And as she flew across the desert, God sent 3 angels out after her to bring her back to the garden. These 3 angels caught up with her, and as they flew across the desert, trying to get her to stop and to listen to reason, to come back to the garden, she refused, proclaiming that she would forever stalk the children of man as her own, and that she would claim babies in the womb and after birth, and that they would become her children. It was not until they reached the Red Sea that the 3 angels managed to gather round her and stop her in her flight. Hovering there above the Red Sea, the angels, unable to convince Lilith to come back, asked their God to intervene and prayed to him to help them with Lilith. And God himself spoke down to Lilith, inviting her to return to the garden, that he intended from this point forward that he would craft for each Adam and Lilith another soul bound to theirs, connected in a union of soulmates, so that common ground could be found, that a connection and an intimacy could be found, that he would take a rib of each of them and craft a mate for each of them. But Lilith still refused, so consumed with the hate and poison from within that she transformed even more into a dark, dark place where only the lustful attributes of her physical form remained as any semblance of what once was a human. and she became the first demon from man. And the Lord, saddened by her choice, said unto her that while she may stalk the children of men, the 3 angels of healing around her would guard the children of man against her. And that though she may claim some of them, she herself would have to watch 100 of her children die each day. And so Lilith had condemned herself to her fate. And as the years rolled on and the world evolved and man spread out across the earth, there was a time when man protected their children from Lilith. They would create amulets and place them around pregnant women's necks and around newborn babies, praying for the protection from the angels to ward Lilith away. But as time went on, man forgot of Lilith as she faded from a story in the forefront of our mind to a place of entertainment, of a pop culture figure of the queen of demons or the queen of vampires, relegated to something that no longer existed. And yet, more of man's children were claimed each day. And what better way for Lilith to have claimed more children from the children of man than to have beguiled man into freely giving those children to her.